Hello, good morning, and this is News Desk. I am MFA Akosiadeti. Coming up this morning, the minority in Parliament is accusing President John Mahama of breaching Article 60 of the 1992 Constitution. We have more on our desk. And also on our desk, railway workers are on strike, bringing services under the Ghana Railway Company Limited to a halt. We'll also bring you details. We are live there with interactions from the workers. And as well, court orders prosecution in the ongoing trial of former National Signals Bureau boss Kwabena Edubahine to file witnesses' statements by 20th May. We've got these plus business updates on our decks. Of course, stay for details. Thank you for staying with us. We start with the minority and how it is accusing President John Mahama of breaching Article 60 of the 1992 Constitution. They say Ghana was left without a president, a vice president, or Speaker of Parliament on May 12, 2025, and no one was sworn in to act in their absence, describing it as a constitutional crisis. Now, a statement signed by legal counsel John Darko reads, and we're bringing that on your screen shortly, says that today, 12 May, which was yesterday, 2025, we have become aware of the conspicuous and alarming absence of the president, his vice president, and the Speaker of Parliament from the Republic, all at the same time, without the constitutionally mandated swearing in of an acting president. This represents a clear and egregious violation of Article 60 of the 1992 Constitution of Ghana. It continues to say the constitutional provisions on presidential succession are explicit that when both the president and the vice president are absent from the country, the Speaker of Parliament must be sworn in to act as president. This interpretation has been affirmed by the Supreme Court in the landmark case of Asari versus Attorney General. The court held that at no point should the nation be left without a constitutionally designated acting head of state. In the absence of both the president and the vice president, the speaker must assume that role. And also, it's a matter of public record that the Speaker of Parliament departed the jurisdiction on 8th May 2025. The president, fully aware of this fact and also aware that his vice president had traveled earlier to seek medical attention abroad, nonetheless proceeded to leave the country without taking steps to ensure that the Chief Justice administered the oath to the Speaker to act as president, as mandated by the Constitution. Also, their conduct is not only constitutional, their conduct is not only unconstitutional, it is deliberate and calculated. This administration has consistently threatened the Constitution as an inconvenience rather than a binding framework. Treated the Constitution as an inconvenience rather than a binding framework. They are emboldened to flout the supreme law of the land because they believe they should have succeeded in weakening, the judiciary. Their continued attacks on the judiciary and the Chief Justice, both overt and covert, have created a climate that undermines judicial independence and threatens the rule of law. It is this very erosion of institutional checks that enables such a brazen violation to go unchecked. And the final part of that, their statement says that the precedent set in Asari versus Attorney General has not been overturned. That the president's action and those of his advisors constitutes nothing short of a willful and wanton disregard for the Constitution of Ghana. This is one of the clearest demonstrations yet of his administration's habitual violation of the supreme law of the land. The supremacy of the Constitution derives not from its physical form, but from our collective commitment to uphold it. As President Barack Obama noted on 10th January 2017, and I quote, "Our Constitution is a remarkable, beautiful gift, but it's really just a piece of parchment. It has no power on its own. We, the people give it power with our participation and the choices we make, whether or not we stand up for our freedoms, whether or not we respect and enforce the rule of law, end quote. These words ring true as for us as Ghanaians. Our constitution, though not without its imperfections, remains the cornerstone of our democracy. It is only through strict adherence to its provisions, not selective obedience, that we confer upon it the reverence that it deserves. And this will be the statement that the minority has been writing. But it continues to say, today, those entrusted with the sacred responsibility of safeguarding our constitution have failed in their duty. They have chosen to undermine its authority, threatening the democratic gains we have struggled to build. Let them be reminded, Ghana is still a fragile democracy. The process of our democratic journey is neither guaranteed nor irreversible. And finally, as a minority caucus and in our role as vigilant custodians of the Constitution, we shall continue to expose and resist such violations. We'll hold the President and his vice accountable to their oath of office, which demands fidelity to the Constitution where necessary. We shall invoke the relevant provisions of the law to ensure that constitutional breaches do not go unpunished. Now, I'll go on Zoom to talk to my colleague, Kweku Asante, for more on this. Kweku, good morning. I haven't seen you this morning, and I know that you're somewhere around the corner in the office, but give me an update. What more has the minority been saying?
So if you look at the statement that the minority have put out, they insist that there is a power vacuum. And we know that President John Dramani Mahama has been out of the country since last week. Over the weekend, he was in the United Kingdom to visit his vice president, Professor Nana Jinukwu-Kwajiman. At the start of the week, yesterday, the presidential correspondent, Masula Buba, gave us the indication that he was in Togo. And today, he is currently in Ivory Coast, where he has been attending some conferences. So the president is clear, it's not in the country. The vice president herself has also been unwell. Since 29th March of this year, she has been outside the country, and so that is not in dispute. Ordinarily, that would have meant that the presidential succession line will have to fall to the Speaker of Parliament. The Speaker of Parliament was around town last week up until the weekend, but we know now that the Speaker of Parliament has also traveled. We can confirm that even those sources at his office are not willing to disclose specifically where the Vice President has gone. But you see that in the minority statement, they have been able to confirm that the Speaker of Parliament, who ordinarily should be next in line, has also traveled out of the country. That means if you look at Article 66 of the Constitution, which provides a succession line, all the persons in line to succeed the president outside the country are unavailable. There are those who hold the view that the succession line extends to the Chief Justice, and the Chief Justice can be sworn in to act. But if you look at Article 66, it does not mention the Chief Justice in that regard at all. And that is why some people have insisted that there is a power vacuum as we speak. Professor Kwadwo Appiah-Jatu, who was speaking to Evans Spencer on Newsnight yesterday, did indicate that there is need for transparency in this matter, for the presidency to have clearly communicated to the public where the power has currently fallen and who is acting as the president of the country with the president outside the country. There are those like Professor Kweku Asare who also hold the view that it is time for the Supreme Court to reverse itself in the Asare case that decided that once the president or the vice are outside the country, they are unable to perform their functions. So that is why the minority said there has been a breach of the Constitution. They are going to use all avenues and means that are available to them to demand this. We have been making our check this morning to get some indications from the presidency as to what exactly they make of this. We haven't gotten any comments on this as of now, but the minority are clear in their mind that there have been constitutional violations.
Is the morning after the statement, do we know whether the minority have started making certain arrangements to invoke any rule that which they have been saying in their statements? What does it look like for them this morning?
It appears they intend to wait for Parliament to resume because they do not want to jump the gun. Specifically, if you look at the way things work, when the president is traveling, Article 60 mandates that he must communicate to Parliament before he travels. And so it is not clear the president may have made that arrangement, which would have been included in the letter to the Speaker of Parliament. But because Parliament is on recess, those letters cannot be read. And And when Parliament resumes on the 27th May, the Speaker of Parliament will read the backlog of letters that came from the President, even those ones that are belated, he will read them on the floor. And then we will get to know whether the President may have triggered specific actions to be done to fill this vacancy.
Right.
If that is done, then the minority will see that that has been properly done. But if that is not done, then they perhaps will have to advise themselves on what specific steps they are going to take to defend the Constitution in their own words.
Well, thank you, Kweku. And you hear my colleague quote Article 60 of the 1992 Constitution. But what does Article 60 say? I'll tell you now on your screen. It says that Clause 1 says that there shall be a Vice President of Ghana who shall perform such functions as may be assigned to him by this Constitution or by the President. 2 continues to say, a candidate for the office of Vice President shall be designated by the candidate for the office of President before the election of President. This we're clear on, we've practiced over the years. It also says that the provision of Article 62 of this Constitution applies to a candidate for election as Vice President, and 62 will be that it is describing who qualifies to be a president, which means that for the candidates that are going to be selected by the president as a running mate would have to meet the threshold of 62 in that constitution, so that when the president is not available, they can assume the role, and that's what Clause 3 of the Clause 3 of Article 60 of 1992 Constitution seeks to clarify. Now, 4 says that a candidate, I'll go back to 4. Oh, okay, I'll take you to now jump and take you to 9, which is what matters because of this conversation. The Vice President shall, before commencing to perform the functions of the President under Clause 6 of this article, which will be 60, take and subscribe the oath set out in the second schedule of this Constitution in relation to the office of the President, which will mean that when there's a swearing in, which you have seen on the 7th of January, what the President takes, the oath that he takes, will be different from what the Vice President will take. And so the Constitution seeks to say that if the Vice President is going to be taking the role of the President, they must subscribe to the oath set out in that second schedule of this Constitution, which as well, you may recall that Professor Sari wants to see clarification at the Supreme Court that when the President is not in the country, there must be an automatic assumption for the Vice President. That the Supreme Court ruled that it shouldn't be automatic. The Vice President or whoever will come after should really take that oath. Now, 10 says that the Vice President shall, upon assuming office as President under Clause 6 of this article, nominate a person to the office of Vice President subject to approval by Parliament. And let me see if I can bring you another. Yes, so 11 of Article 60 says, where the President and the Vice President are both unable to perform the functions of the President, the Speaker of Parliament shall perform those functions until the President or the Vice President is able to perform those functions or a new President assumes office, as the case may be. 12. The Speaker shall, before commencing to perform the functions of the President under Clause 11 of this article, take and subscribe the oath set out in relation to the office of the President. And this is where the minority in Parliament or the minority caucus is basing their argument on that none of these provisions in the Constitution had been followed by the President, and they seek to want to bring to the attention of the country, which means that there is a power vacuum. And we'll try and unpack this a bit later in our subsequent bulletins for you. Now, moving away from that, an Accra High Court has ordered prosecution in the ongoing trial of the former National Signals Bureau boss, Kwabena Edubuahin, to file witness statements by May 26th. Now, let's get more from our legal affairs correspondent, Latif. Latif, if you can hear me, when was this order, and then what has been the responses from the legal representatives of Kwabena Edubuahin? Kindly unmute, Latif. We'll try and connect to Latif again. I'll try again. Latif, if you can hear me, when did this happen and what has been the reaction from...
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Oh, glad that I can hear you. Tell us about this.
Sorry about that. So the order of the judge was just given minutes ago here at the General Jurisdiction Division of the Accra High Court. The judge has ordered the prosecution to file witness statements by 26th of May so that there could be CMC, that is a case management conference afterwards. If you listen to the judge today, all he wants is an expedited trial because he made the case that indeed personal liberties are in contention. And when he mentioned that, he meant that personal liberties of Mr. Kwabena Edubuahen, his wife, and the third accused person in this particular criminal trial, they are in contention. And so he wants the Attorney General and prosecution for that matter to do things quickly in order for this case to be heard expeditiously. He again cautioned that, yes, he wants an expedited trial, but not to compromise the trial in itself. Yes, there should be expedited trial, but he insisted again that that is not to suggest that the entire trial itself would be compromised. MFI, you know that Mr. Kwabena Edubuahen is currently on an 80 million Ghana cedis bail with two sureties, one of whom has to be justified. His wife is also on an 80 million Ghana cedis bail with two sureties. The third accused person is...
Oh, I hope I've not lost Lateef. Lateef, if you can hear me, so we're trying to get the reasons for the court asking that the Attorney General will file witnesses' statements, and also on the part of the Kwabena Edubuahen, who is currently being prosecuted for certain things, about 11 counts of charges, and to the 26th of May. And Lateef has just been explaining to us that the court or the judge wants a trial that will not prolong, especially because persons should enjoy their personal liberty. We'll try and connect with Lateef again to see if he can just bring that up. Lateef, we'll try, in our subsequent bulletins again, well, likely Lateef is back. Lateef, so you were saying? Apologies for that, but again, Lateef.
Yes, Samefa, can you hear me?
Yes. So what has been the reaction so far from the Attorney General, especially the judge saying that they must respect people's liberty, but not the process being compromised? What has been the reaction?
Yes, so the judge made a point, and when he said that in open court, then Justice Shremsai made a comment in that respect and said, Mr. Edubuahen is on bail. Those were the words of the Deputy Attorney General in open court. But then it got a bit confusing because the lead counsel for Mr. Edubuahen also chipped in something in open court that when Mr. Edubuahen's remand ran out, I mean, to use the word loosely, he was rearrested. These are the words of lawyer Atachia in open court. Now, we are trying to get an understanding on what exactly Mr. Atachia meant. So he's here. Let's get a quick word from Mr. Atachia on what he meant by that. Mr. Atachia, when you said Mr. Edubuahen was rearrested, what exactly did you mean?
Well, the judge, at the last sitting, the judge ordered that he should have his freedom yesterday. And they said they have another matter that they are investigating concerning him. So when he was supposed to have his freedom by their calculation, they released him midnight and then rearrested him on the basis of the newfound matters they were looking at. But the question is, in the period in which he had the freedom, why didn't they deal with the matter? And they'll leave it till midnight and rearrest him. Is somebody very excited, incarcerating another Ghanaian with all manner of tactics will aid justice. And that is unfortunate.
So is he in the custody of Yoko right now?
It's come back to Yoko, and I'm going there now for me to come to terms with what is the new matter, what is the new issue. You see, because he's been there all this while, and if there were serious matters of consequence, and he's on bail, huge bail, 80 million Ghana cedis bail. He's living nowhere. Adubuahin's name and that of Angela, they are all over the nation, our borders and our airports. They are going nowhere. So I believe that we should come clean that this is not a personal vendetta. This is a man that you believe you have some criminal case against, and give him space to defend himself. And give him also the freedom that now the Supreme Court has decided that there's no case which is not bailable, including murders, provided always they will exact on you conditions for you to appear before the court to defend yourself. So I do not think we are going to rewrite the criminal jurisprudence of Ghana because of one man.
This first arrest, does it include the wife and the third accused person?
I am not sure, who are involved, and I'm going to find out from them what it entails, and I'll be able to address it.
Do you know the matter in which he is being arrested for?
I've been hinted that it relates to secured internet services for the benefit of another state institution, the Ghana Water Company. That national security provided them with gadgets and well-meaning things so that if you are even in your room, you'll be able to see the pipes, whether they are not being tampered, because national security surmise that water is a national security matter. When your water is polluted, it will affect the entire nation.
Last week, a leaked letter that Ibrahim authored was released in the public domain. How does that, from the details of that letter, how does that affect your case?
Well, it was unfortunate that it leaked, because the letter was intended for the National Security Coordinator, in which he was trying to let him know that where he is, national security matters are being raised. And he should come to terms with it. That's what he was trying to do. He was not saying that he's afraid to defend himself, but he's saying that they are pushing him in areas of national security. And when pushed to come to shove, he has to defend himself. And somebody will turn around and why is a national security intelligence officer trying to bring into the public domain national security matters when he's sworn an oath. So you swear an oath, the national security will not come to your aid, so you go to jail. That will be unfortunate. It will be a tragedy that cannot be calculated. So that was the intent of the letter. The letter was not supposed to come to the public domain. He wrote to the coordinator, the successor national security coordinator, to look into the matters which, unfortunately, Attorney General and Yoko are pushing. Are they pushing national security matters in the public domain? And if he should respond to those matters, are they not going to turn around that he has breached his oath of secrecy and the rest of them? You can't slap a man twice. It's unfair.
Lawyer Tati, are you suggesting that when, to use your own phrase, when push comes to shove, he will divulge national security secrets to defend himself?
He has no choice, because why should a man be found guilty when he's innocent and when he's dealing with national security matters? So when a man is faithfully helping national security to have the sanity of the nation, why should he go through what he's going through? I thought national security will look into these matters and probably have a good conversation with Yoko and the Attorney General that you are treading on slippery slope. And that's where we are. It's a very dangerous path we are doing. Nobody will be ready to serve national security. If he's serving the national security and there's a regime change, they'll bring you to court to come and explain how national security monies were spent. Who's going to work for national security? So the immunity they have is of no consequence now. And these are some of the ramifications we should take into account.
Since the release of this letter, has there been any further engagement with the prosecution or relevant story?
Well, I have not done what I'm supposed to do, but I'm sure the letter is with him now, the coordinator, the new coordinator, and he should process it for himself. Because he details some matters that people got offended. So the new coordinator should look at what is placed before him and advise himself and the powers that be. It's as simple as that.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, MFA. So that was lawyer Tachia. He's a lead counsel for Mr. Edubuahen. So the clarity has now been given. We now know that Mr. Edubuahen has been arrested by Yoko officials again. He is currently in the custody of Yoko on a separate new charge that has to do with the services National Signals Bureau provided to the Ghana Water Company with regards to internet services and some other technologies. That is a separate and a fresh charge that Mr. Edubuahen has been slapped with by the Attorney General. And so he has been arrested again and has been taken into custody. He is in the custody of Yoko. Lawyer Tachia, as you rightly heard, he is very resolute and that giving full support to his client that if push comes to shove, Mr. Edubuahen might be forced to divulge national security details, if you like, in order to defend himself in court and also in the court of public opinion, as he has done with regards to the letter that has been circulated on social media, where he made some allegations of making some payments to members of parliament to facilitate the passage of certain bills in parliament. So that is the update we have now. Two things. The court has given an order for prosecution to file witness statements by May 26th. We now know again that Mr. Edubuahen has been arrested on a fresh charge with regards to the services National Signals Bureau provided to Ghana Water Company during his tenure as the boss of NSB. I'm a fact.
A case whilst it's developing, still developing. And away from that, railway workers have begun an industrial action after declaring an indefinite sit-down strike on Monday, bringing services under the Ghana Railway Company Limited to a halt. Now, the workers are demanding unpaid salaries and improved working conditions. The industrial action is led by the Railway Workers Union in Accra. Collins Frimpong spoke with the workers, the striking workers, a while ago.
We were told that just after the head count, we will be paid. And then 13 days of this month, nothing is being heard from management. And we don't know what is going on. So we wanted to know why we haven't been paid and when are we going to be paid. So that is why you see the workers here.
Yourself, how are you coping without salary for 7 months? How are you coping?
Very, very bad. For me, it's my wife who controls the house now. I've now become the woman and my wife is now the man, doing everything for us, which is very, very, very bad on my side. And I think same to my people here.
Let me engage more people here. Good morning, please. What's your name?
My name is Kobra Mills.
No problem. Move it to my country.
Me Kobra Mills. Now, crisis a woman de masa oya din papa. Is a air no no hwe. Is a we school. School we. Most of them yamba private school. Is a also kitemi. Etumu de oye adia adan ko school last year. But because of aketwene 120 yentu me member school. Obi yale common 20 cities or boko to mpakun wewu. Last 2 weeks wewu anye 20 cities na fan ko to dum wewu. Nta abadi na mpemfu no wodre yen. Nti yenya management no de wombla womaka bibi nchen ayendem de atenu onya de obeye djuma so kan ka chefu won twa kampa yepe because yenye djuma ne won sisien nti yema abana so nti de yempemfu no yentum won nye djuma bio so wan system pemfu na se de mpemfu no obeda adjuma na no de a adjuma no wegu totally edman wegu nti wansi sampe information.
So apart from the demands apart from say say you betu amoka 7 months aketua no more saying the adesrede to aban him say omunyi mu mpanimfo be na come
management from MD to final dem penfuno de dwuma nanim no.
The Ghana Railway Company.
Ghana Railway Company. Although you win edi. When you win a dimpa do chwangum because enyame bi wo ho a mpenfuno di seyen. Enyame bi wo mpenfuno di seyen. Nti when you win edi total ado you win edi when you win edi na say what is capo be shade manim na dem mpenfuno bogwa enyame ma ye bokọ form.
Right, Benjamin, what he said is that they've not been paid for about 7 months, and as a result, their children, they are reopening school and they do not have money to even pay for their school fees, not to even talk of providing for them. And as a result, they are demanding that government should release their salaries for them, their 7 months unpaid salaries. And also, they are demanding that the management for the Ghana Railway Company Limited also, they sack them and make sure that they get new management. Let's engage more people here. Please, good morning.
What's your name? I'm Benjamin Boame Mesa.
Are you a worker or one of the leaders of the worker?
I'm the worker.
You are a worker.
Yeah.
What's the situation really for you?
Martin, you demand our salary for past 7 months in one train car. Now, management all the time in the Ochina. It's Yano washing a bufu. Because you ain't 8 months. You ain't trouble. We be school. So one boy school cry. One can say 8 months. Say echo in for borrowing. Can you go all the time for borrowing? No. And see, you brother there, management. What ban would trace can my hand? Say if government is not face can buy, then what my yet the government on face can buy. Into the want to munch. So until them die, you better na. Today, yen sabaka yen salary 7 months arrears no yen sabaka and Sunday you go back to work. Now 2 10 year catch and there or the investors we show in the Obaba Befe Jumano because young day management want to me Jumano. Investors also ban what block investors no because
private investors.
Yeah. For past 2 years we are hearing the investors but what block one was send there when you can work for do a 7 months I mean me worker me a bra no money my manager no on brebi so brebi anka yes salary 7 months no anka bana yes aka yentena haso nti ya catch bende mo mbobi oboboa no ombo hen concern yes salary na investors oboba be fedwuma no omo mbra na omo fedwuma no na renwu on fani tempemfo because for past 6 years na run accounts home 6 years run accounts home bio lancing ya wetutu
for the tutu line.
A past government last year no more tutu as scraps a corner do tutu as scraps into this year no a corner for dan kadisika banka kraka no we tutu ni ya your manganese and on my foreign exchange kakra yeska wotu modu twanko manganese for past month last year you starting nisu yanko bio into e be den kwan manager no ahwewomba eno fie one can say baby your income no a crossing a bed and actual womba into your government investors in one I know here can say no oba government now investors in government and who button because this is when woman in your municipal.
Now, away from that, Minister for Education Haruna Idrisi says plans are far advanced to construct at least one university in every region of the country. Speaking at the inauguration of the Governing Council of SD Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, Haruna Idrisi said the John Mahama government was deeply committed to ensuring equitable access to education.
And also for purpose of the media, it is the desire and intention, as I have publicly stated, that every region of Ghana will be host to one higher education institution of learning. It is a dream and desire of President Mahama that in each region there will be an established university. But we have to begin somewhere, and we have begun somewhat in getting that done. In one of the new universities that we would lay a bill in Parliament this year will be the University of Health, Agriculture and Life Sciences. at Kintampo to serve the Bono region. I intend to table the bill in Parliament as soon as Parliament reconvenes, so that those institutions in and around Kintampo with capacity for the beginning of a full-fledged university for University of Health, Agriculture and Life Sciences will begin in earnest.
Also, Mr. Idrisu also promised the new governing council that the government will pay ECG legacy debt owned by the university.
I'm happy to announce that this year, government through the GET Fund chairman will make available some seed money for SD Dombo University as part of government quest, President Mahama's quest to support the institution to grow. I'm also aware that you have some outstanding ECG legacy debt. We'll try and work with the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, I see Sanusi represented here, to offset the burden of that debt, your legacy debt. And then this year, I've requested that GET Fund will support you through GTEC and through the Ministry of Education to at least complete one of your GET Fund projects. When I say one, it means that I wish I could do more. But Chair, within the constraints of the budget, we identify one major priority of an uncompleted GET Fund project, and we get it done for you this year.
Meanwhile, Chairman of the SD Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, Dr. Benjamin Kombo, has assured that the council will ensure the university is well run.
And after that, I ran into the second problem, because one of the things we had to add to the technical work was the Faculty of Law. That was not included. Fortunately, it was included. And then the university has since started a program, and that will be one of the areas that will need a lot of support from the ministry and the government. If the sustainable development goals include access to justice, you can only get access to justice when the geographical spread of legal resources are even across the whole country. And that is why when you are having these type of academic or university facilities, you must make sure that you maximize them. The mere fact that you have a law faculty brings so many things, and given the particular curricula of the UDS tradition of having outreach programs, that for the first time people will see law students in their communities who would be doing an outreach. Because when I travel to work every time I go onto that campus, and it is sometimes heartbreaking to see what the previous NDC government did, and most of those buildings are still standing idle. So if we can move beyond the one that we are assured of and get another one in the next budget cycle, another one in the third budget cycle, and even another one in the election year for election purposes, I think we should be able to get there. We, on our part, would also try a number of private initiatives and see how the local community of the region would also encourage and make their own contribution to develop the university.
Now, away from education, let's do some health. Now, asthma is affecting millions globally silently. More than 250 million people live with the condition. Sadly, about 450,000 die annually. That's according to the World Health Organization. In Ghana, asthma accounts for up to 10% of all hospital admissions among children. That's more in the following report.
According to the World Health Organization, an estimated 250 million people across the globe are living with asthma, and around 455,000 people die from the condition every year. In Ghana, asthma is responsible for up to 10% of all hospital admissions among children, with thousands more affected by the disease, often exacerbated by poor air quality and limited access to inhalers. Dr. Juliana Oye Ame, Chief Executive Officer of the Trust Hospital, speaking at the commemoration of the World Asthma Day here in Accra, has called for urgent investment and policy reforms to address the critical shortage of asthma care in the country.
Asthma is not only a personal health concern, it is also a public health challenge, as research informs us that over 96% of asthma-related deaths occur in low and middle income countries, where access to essential life-saving inhalers is often limited or completely unavailable.
Currently, 1 in 3 asthma patients in Ghana is able to receive appropriate inhaled treatment, despite inhalers being the gold standard in asthma management. Dr. Oye Ame further emphasized that the lack of access to proper inhaled treatment is a national crisis, leaving many vulnerable, especially among children, as asthma remains a leading cause of hospital admissions and mortality.
According to data from the World Health Organization, asthma was responsible for 1,979 deaths in 2020, accounting for 1.13% of total mortality, with a death rate of 13.95 per 100,000 individuals. And these statistics extend beyond mere numbers. They signify the loss of mothers, fathers, children, and potentially our colleagues.
The Global Asthma Network's 2022 Global Asthma Report warns that approximately 1,000 people die from asthma every day worldwide. While these fatalities are preventable, inadequate management such as over-reliance on reliever medications instead of preventive treatment continues to claim lives. Dr. Nana Ama Abankwa is sounding the alarm over an increasingly underreported issue.
According to GR in 2022, about 80% of these deaths, unfortunately, and as always, occur in low-middle income countries, mainly due to underdiagnosis and then undertreatment. We don't even diagnose them that they have asthma, so we don't set out to treat them, and then they die along the way.
Non-communicable diseases remain a significant threat to the health, growth and development of nations worldwide. Quality medical care and asthma medicines are urgently needed to ensure better outcomes for people living with asthma globally. For Joy News, Stephen Mensah.
We're going for a quick break. Please stay.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Ghana Shippers Authority has assured of completion of the Buankra Inland Port Project in the Ashanti region aimed at enhancing movement of goods to the northern sector of the country and other West African countries. According to the Chief Executive, Professor Ransford Jampo, the government is committed to seeing to the completion of the project despite challenges being encountered. The Buankra Integrated Logistics and Terminal Build Project is a flagship initiative designed to provide a comprehensive logistics and transportation hub in Ghana. Nanaya Ojima has more in the following report.
The project, executed by a local construction company, Justmo Construction Limited, aims to reduce congestion at the Tema port, improve efficiency in cargo handling, and provide a one-stop logistics facility for importers, exporters, and logistics service providers. CEO of Ghana Shippers Authority, Professor Ransford Jampo, who was at the site to inspect progress of work, expressed his satisfaction with work done so far.
Bonded warehouse have been erected, they are being cladded, pavement works have been done, and all other activities that are supposed to be done to ensure that the project complete, at least the phase 1 of the project is completed. They are all ongoing, and so I think that this is one of the major infrastructure projects that a nation like Ghana, a developing nation, country like Ghana, would need.
The Buankra Inland Port project is expected to have a significant impact on Ghana's economy, providing a much-needed boost to trade and commerce. Once completed, the facility will offer a range of services, including warehousing, container storage, customs clearance, among others. The chief executive of Justmo Construction Limited, Dr. Justice Amo, in an interview after the site meeting with Ghana Shippers Authority, appealed for timely financial disbursements.
But for financing, the project would have been completed. Now that they have noticed the work done so far, they should ensure the disbursement is prompt.
Project consultant Dr. J.B. Cranton York noted that the phase 1 of the project is nearing completion.
Currently, the Western Line is being constructed. That is from Takoradi Port all the way to Kumasi. I think the new KGTR, which is Eduardin, is the destination. From Eduardin to Buankra, it's about 65 kilometers. And we are also working with GSC, GRDA, and the Ministry of Transport to ensure that that missing link is done.
For Joy News, Nana Yaojima, Buankra.
Now, head of security operations at Virtual InfoSec Security Africa, Novisi Ado, has urged small and medium enterprises to sign up for the early warning service. He explained that the service would enable SMEs to easily detect and survive potential threats. Mr. Ado made the remarks at the launch of the Virtual InfoSec Africa AI-driven money security and digital forensic services.
Early warning service. In fact, this is a service that we believe every SME should sign on to. Why? Because it is the quickest way to understand what's happening. You don't have the expertise, and the onboarding process or bringing you on board is so simple and smooth. When we do that, automatically you join the protection wagon. That way, you don't suffer from too much of not knowing this or not knowing that. So we believe that as a simple measure, sign on to early warning service. And of course, be aware. Take your own security as a company very seriously. Most SMEs come up, they don't have any security respondents. So that's why we come in. We can have packages that are tailored for small businesses, so that even though you don't have the expertise, you can leverage on our expertise to ensure that your business thrives. So you don't become a victim and cry after.
All right, and that's it for the segment. The news returns after this.
Well, you're welcome back to Newsdesk. It will be a wrap for the bulletin. But for more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com, which you know that the court, our top story, would be file witness statement by May 26th. The court orders prosecution in Edu Boahen criminal trial. We also know that he has been rearrested on fresh charges. Details on the portal if you visit myjoyonline.com. Many thanks for joining us today. We'll see you at 12 for more news. My name is Emefa Akusiadeti. Thank you for watching.